Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah, this program, our Sunday program, which usually revolve around what we would call guides to better living. And indeed, in today's time, we need to be aware of our environment. And as far as guides to better living is concerned, we want that to be one of the cornerstones of our activities. So I want to start off by talking about the title of our program today is Symbiotic Relationship. And has anybody been keeping up with the what's been going on in the Gulf over there? The ships has been hit and okay. Do you notice the strict American news? Well, now it's changed a little bit the last 2 days. But I think I was listening to might have been CNN a little while when they was talking to O'Rourke or something. Sunday is my day for, on C-SPAN radio, they play all of the stuff that came on from 12 o'clock on. On Meet the Press, you know, CNN, State of the Nation, State of the Union. So Sunday, but it's usually Sunday afternoon after this program, I just take it easy and I listen to all of those programs just to see what they, at one time it was my connection to where they, or even now when I don't have time to be following their news, I can take Sunday off in the afternoon and I can catch up on all of what they've been talking about over the last week. Because that's what it is, it's a review of the week. Right. Anyway, about an hour ago, I was listening to, it sounded like this O'Rourke guy or something. And when I turned it on, they was right in the middle of the discussion about Iran. And he was saying, well, America used to be the leader in information and truth and clarity, and people could sit there. Well, that's what he was saying. I mean, they've never been that far. Right. But he says, but now, he says, you look at the world, talking about that incident, he said that nobody takes America's word anymore. Right. He said, don't nobody even, he was saying, people should have something they can count on, and they could count on. They don't mention the Gulf Tonkin Resolution. They don't mention the Mexican War.
Remember the Maine.
Oh my goodness, remember the Maine. The Yellow Press. They don't remember. This statement about short memory is dangerous. Not to change the subject, but if you remember when Saddam Hussein attacked Iran, he had a carte blanche. The United States gave him satellite imagery, troop movements, weapons, food, credits, all of that. Even when a missile hit the Star and killed 38 American seamen, America didn't respond. Well, the story from the Iranians is that they deflected. They got good enough to deflect some of the missiles, and they deflected the missiles to hit the Star. That's what they say. But anyway, so when they used poison gas on Iranians, sent the Iranians to Europe and everywhere so people could see who was using poison gas, what it was all about and everything. And the UN just had their little resolution. They said someone is using, they didn't mention Iraq, they said someone is using poison gas. But when the US changed stories on when he invaded their homeboys, Kuwait, and Kuwait was slant drilling, you know, Kuwait and Iraq is next together. So if this is the border and you drill slanted, you drill into their oil. Kuwait was slant drilling. Right? They're the border and they're drilling into Iraqi oil. You know, like it ain't even no big deal. And so that's one of the reasons that Saddam set all the oil wells on fire. All the oil wells during the Gulf War of 91. Good God. It's like the horses in middle stream. Saddam is our friend, Saddam is our friend. Take that off the press. Butcher Baghdad, Butcher Baghdad. Just, nobody can stop. Said, stop the press. Wait a minute, this is an hour ago you were saying this. And now nobody, that's dangerous. So it takes a long period of time for lack of credibility to really build up. It wasn't then, but it's now. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi, yes, we worked all this time to get a JPOIs or whatever it was. And he comes in and tears it up and then put sanctions on the people. The hardest sanction they ever had. He's instigating. That's what she's saying. She's in the Congress. She should be, you know, technically pushing him. So what I witnessed the last few days, right away the foreign press was, the Japanese said, there was two Japanese, they was going to take the cargo to Japan. Can you imagine? The Japanese press in Japan and the one that they picking up monitoring here said no, they did not. All the people, our people saw a big flash. In fact, they think it was two flashes. So it couldn't have been a land mine, a water mine. It was a flash. They said we were sprayed with debris. So that was a missile.
Right.
So then the Japanese press here said, the one that the standard Japanese said, no, that's not enough evidence they're not bringing up it. Right. Now you take, and then the Japanese, they look at it as an insult. They said, whoever did that, our prime minister was there, bringing a message from the U.S. And it couldn't be no Iranian because their leader is meeting with him. So if it was them, they would be embarrassing their big chief,
Right.
they would be embarrassing their big chief.
Right.
So they scratched them out. So they looking around for who did it. But the thing about it is, the American press first said it was dirty the way they do it. They would say they have the ex-CIA chiefs and all that. They hate Leon Panetta. And they don't have no proof. They said, but the Iranian fingerprints is the only one. is all over it. Nobody can do it, but well, they got Israel, they got Saudi Arabia, they got all them people got sophisticated technology. All of them can do it. And who would probably do it? So I'm talking, the talk today will be about a symbiotic relationship. And the symbiotic relationship I'm talking about is between Iran and us. And so, I know I've been over this stuff before, but I just want to show it again. This is from the last time I was in Iran, which was a few years ago, a couple of years ago. And I probably won't be going anyway soon, because the people that's controlling, see, the people that control the foreign ministry and all the people who handles all the outside world are of a certain persuasion, and they filter all the people that get in contact with the internal people. In other words, in the first part of the revolution, everybody had to be revolutionary. So all the people, the revolutionaries, the pro-Iranian, pro-Hezbollah, all those people came to all the programs, mostly, or supporters of it. As time went on, they have middle-class journalists, and if you see who goes to Iran now, it's cold pink. It's Negroes from Black Lives Matter that don't know nothing. The Negroes that go over there.
It's no Muslims.
No Muslims, and they don't know nothing about struggle. Nothing.
Muslims and European looking.
And it's unbelievable. So the only ones that had any Negro credentials would be the national Negro. So there's a barrier between the leadership and the functionaries there and the people. In other words, when you encircle people, they have their gatekeepers around whoever that is. Like the gatekeepers around Dr. Khalim Siddiqui was all of them. Zafar Bangash, Muhammad al-Assad, all of them. Well, if Dr. Khalim Siddiqui said, I had forgot what he was saying, I was something. But I looked at what Dr. Khalim Siddiqui was saying about me. I said, good God Almighty. He's the epitome of everything that is good. I said, God, dog, that's serious. But he knows he's getting ready to die. You can tell he's trying to set me up to manage everything because I'm the only one practical. In those days, I'm part of the crew. I'm part of the conscious crew, part of the pro-Iranian crew, pro-Hezbollah crew, all the revolutionary groups around the world. I'm a part of that crew, and at that time, most of us would be considered as Sunnis, because when we was really in the beginning of that, a lot of Shias didn't support the Islamic Republic, or they didn't support al-Faqih. So, under Dr. Siddiqui, he unified everybody, and most of the people were Sunnis, but it was some Shias from Eastern provinces and a few other places. So that's how it became that a lot of the representatives, or a lot of the friends from outside the world, was basically Sunnis. Now, in those days, Dr. Khalim Siddiqui he was futuristic in his approach on whether in explaining the Islamic Republic and where it was going. That's actually what he did. He was good at that. So if we're all part of the same team, if he's pointing to me in South Africa and he dies a week and a half later after that, okay, why the next time I go to South Africa the people are acting funny? They're not saying they're acting funny, but they're acting funny. And the further we go along, the further I'm cut off from the flow. We used to be on the roll in South Africa. And the longer I go by, because everybody around Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, except me, not everybody, that's incorrect. The main people, Muhammad Al-Hassi, Zafar Bangash, all of those guys, when Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui passed away, that whole crew, Dr. Ghayasuddin and all of them, formed a thing to break up the Muslim Parliament, Majlis Ashura Islamiyya Free Britannica. They broke it up and they started the ICTI, Institute of Contemporary Islamic Thought. And that happened, the thought, see, we're past thought. Now, we have to think, but now this is action. We're time of, why they don't have articles on strategic movement and organized struggle and why they don't have nothing like that? It's only Islamic thought, because as long as that was their goal, stop the Islamic movement, all the Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui's movement, break up the momentum of the Muslim Parliament. The Muslim Parliament brought the whole of England together. People were looking all over here and everywhere about copying that principle. It worked. They had a Baitul Mal, they had all of those good things. Because Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, you know, he wasn't a big technical scholar, but he was very intact politically. It's kind of like Maulana Maududi, although Maulana Maududi was more of a Quranic scholar than he would be. He had the Quran down pat, but not as deep as as Maulana Maududi. Anyway, what I'm saying is this. Just like Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui was surrounded, the proof of his being surrounded was that the one he designates to be somebody, the longer we go on, the longer he moves from somebody to nobody in the movement. Right? After a while, you stop seeing me in the, you know, all they would do is copy some stuff I would say, triangle of terror and all of that. They try to figure out a new name that means the same thing, and they would put that in. The point I'm making is, the Islamic Republic has the same thing. If you remember, 12 years ago, I made a few tapes. One of them was called Advocate for the Islamic Republic of Iran. That was 12 years ago. 2007. Advocate, a lawyer, that means at the conferences about at that time, I told them, you guys don't have authority anymore over the Islamic Republic here. I'm taking that over, which I did. Nobody got up at this is a big conference. Nobody said, you can't do that. Who are you? They ain't even said nothing. But they undermined everything. Advocate for the Islamic Republic means that I have clearly seen for 10 years before that they were not making the proper moves in relation to the Islamic Republic of Iran inside the United States. They had already started to subvert the activities by sending people who are uncoordinated with they're not supporters of the revolution. they're communist, socialist writers, and God knows who they are, what they stand for. But we know, we didn't know. So, over the last several years, the thing has got to a high level to where right now, if you look at who comes to the Islamic Republic at those big programs, who's highlighted, see, in the early years, I would be on the podium. I would be like, I would speak and I would chair one of the, so you get visibility. That visibility makes you friends all around the world. So I haven't had that in 15 years. Because they said, this guy is effective. Got to. So you would see a few photo ops. That's it. I told the president of Iran, I went up to where he was sitting, I said, I would like to talk to you. And the guy was translating from down at the, he said, I would like to talk to you about America and give you an idea of what's going on in America. Because I knew the office down there was not giving him a picture. Because the people in the office hated Ahmadinejad. One of the big guys, if you were saying, the biggest over there now from, I ain't gonna mention the foreign ministry, but if you were to look for him, you'd find him there. He told me in perfect English, and he studied here in the U.S. English as good as any of ours, maybe better. I hate Ahmadinejad. I hate him. And all the people down there hated his policy. You know why? Economy. He took some of their oil wealth and distributed amongst the poor. They got a credit. Okay? The fat cats, you can see, what are they crying about now? Economy. But strategically, you never put your eggs in the basket that the enemy can control. Therefore, you never allow your economy, right? That's what resistance economy is all about. That you diversify your own economy, right? And Iran, there's no one in that region